Hello and welcome back to my second podcast with Julia Cartwright. We are now going to be discussing point number 2. If you listened to the first one that was about intergenerational members, this is going to be number 2, a close proximity and relationship to nature, land and soil. So Julia, welcome back. Let's get into this one.
Thanks, Sean.
Yeah, where should we start? So close proximity in relationship to nature.
Yeah, well, nature, as we know, for anybody who's studied psychology, particularly eco-psychology, as I have, and who knows anything about tree bathing, we know that when we get close to nature, just having our feet on the soil and on the land immediately brings our stress levels down. You know, our sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system goes into a state of calm. There's something in Japan called tree bathing. And when you get into that vibrational essence of nature, it's the most wonderful medicine because we are nature. We are nature. And if you're ever feeling stressed, if you just go outside, you look at the sky, you lie on the land, you just immediately calm down. And I think good practice in nature is the best medicine, and it's free. It's free.
Wow, yeah. I know I've heard a lot of people talk about grounding these days.
Yeah.
Literally just with your
Yeah.
energy, you know.
Yeah.
In fact, somebody sent me something, and they were actually showing you changes in the blood when you took your shoes off,
Yeah.
and walked actually on the grass without having that layer between you and the ground, particularly with rubber-soled shoes. And they said it actually slightly changed the circulation of the blood.
Yes, I mean, we are, if you just think, we are actually meant to be living without shoes. We're meant to be living close to nature. That is our natural state, you know, because we are mammals, you know.
Yeah.
And so when we do that, of course, we're going to be in harmony with how that's going to make us feel. And in our modern lives, we've become so removed from any of that that it just becomes the norm, that we've almost become zoned out and we've got used to stress. But when we notice what it feels like when we are in nature and not to be stressed, we realize, again, it goes back to this word disconnected, how disconnected we've become from nature and our nature. I've lived the last 3 years in remote France, very, very close to the land. And for my body and my well-being, I've really felt and noticed the impact of every day being able to touch a tree, to look at a lot of green. Green, just as a healing color, is an amazing color frequency that you realize what it's like to be healthy in nature. And also, it opens up our ability to have a different level of consciousness. I mean, consciousness is probably another topic for another day, but it does all of us, all of our bodies, all of our minds, and our gut. When we get closer to nature, there's a kind of a feedback loop, and your body tells you what it doesn't want to eat. It knows what isn't healthy anymore. So that's why when people are trying to detox, it is a good idea to do that in nature, because nature is a great supporter on detoxing our body from all of it's not just the food we put into our bodies, but it's also what we're ingesting in terms of information, you know, toxic information or toxic relationships. And I said earlier in the first podcast about rebalancing. Well, we have to rebalance the earth, but we have to rebalance ourselves first. If we're going to create a healthy earth and healthy communities, we've got to create healthy bodies and healthy minds and healthy guts.
Yeah, I have actually noticed that as I've got older. Sometimes I also had a mental breakdown a few years ago. And since that happened, I became so much more appreciative and noticed just the contrast in colours. It just struck me as, well, isn't that beautiful to look at? You know, like the green grass and then the turquoise blue sky. The contrast is just, there's just something really beautiful about it.
Absolutely. Color. One of the things that I'm interested in, and one of the things that I've been doing here in Bali, because I'm a painter, so color is hugely important to me. It's always been literally my daily healing mechanism, particularly in terms of, you know, the homes I've lived in. If the color's not right, then my well-being is out of kilter. So here in Bali, I've met a famous Balinese artist called Wayan Kaja, and he is a color psychologist and color therapist. And working with him around the whole healing potential of color, it really is amazing. And of course, in Bali, there's a lot of color, which adds to overall well-being of the people. You come here and the people are so balanced and calm and harmonious that you know that there's something in this. And I think in any kind of cohesive community, color and the color around everybody in the environment that we live is very important. And in any cohesive community, you have to have the artists and the creatives, because that also makes for a holistic community too. And also the thing about color is when you pick up soil. I've always been very interested in soil, because soil is different everywhere, as you know, and our soil in our Western world has become very polluted and leached. It doesn't have the nutrients that it once had. But you pick up soil and you can tell if it's healthy because of its color, and also because of its smell. If you smell a healthy soil, it's like the best perfume that you can imagine. It really is. And also, when you stand in healthy soil, or if you put your hand in healthy soil, you can actually feel it in your body. In South America, if you're a therapist of any kind and you're doing healing with somebody, in your consultation room, you have a big earthenware pot of soil, and after seeing each client, you put your hands in the soil to literally clean the energy off of dealing with that person before you deal with the next person. That's a huge indicator of the potency that soil has to take away and cleanse and purify. My granny had a wonderful expression, which is true. I always let my own kids play in a lot of dirt. That you have to eat dirt before you die, because in dirt, healthy dirt, it has all of the natural microbiomes that we need in our gut to keep us healthy. And in fact, we've become too clean. The fact that people go around every day cleaning the surfaces in their kitchen, that is not
Yeah.
healthy. We need the microbiomes in the soil, in what we would call the dirt, to keep us healthy and also keep us connected. Because if we've got good nutrients from the soil, we're part of the soil.
Yes. Yeah, that makes so much sense.
There's a great book, actually, not that I'm here to push books, but there's a great book called Soil Soul Society, called Satish Kumar, who set up Schumacher College in Devon. And Schumacher College, I've done many, many courses there. It really is the own kind of sort of eco transition college that teaches new economics, our relationship with land. It was set up 25 years ago. And the reason it's called Schumacher is after Edward Schumacher, who was a Buddhist economist. He worked for the National Coal Board in the UK, and he went to the Far East to study their infrastructure. And he came back and said, "We've got it all wrong here. Small is beautiful. We need to be working in small, and that is a good economy." And when we talk about cohesive communities, a small economy is a healthy economy. A small, manageable society is a healthy society. We're not designed, in terms of the way that our brains are configured, to be working in large global units. We're meant to be in small communities. Now, we should be doing local and sharing global, and we need to get back to that. And when we're in close proximity to a healthy soil that we know, that we can smell, which also becomes part of our microbiome, then again, we're cohesive and we're healthy. Yeah. And when you live it and when you feel it and when you know it, do you know what it brings you? It brings you joy. And joy is a very, very healthy level of consciousness. We can talk about consciousness another day, but if anybody's interested in consciousness, which I am, if you get the consciousness table by David Hawkins and you look at the different levels, you realize that as you become more conscious, you do go into the consciousness of joy and love. When you're in the lower frequencies, you're in the frequency of greed and hate, which is, the way many societies are, because we've lost our connection, we've become disconnected. But by practices, whether that's meditation, whether that's regular time in nature, whether that's changing your diet, your consciousness will rise. And when, as a global humanity, our consciousness rises as a collective, we won't want to be warmongering, because it's just not in our vibrational field. And it starts with the soil. It starts with the soil. A healthy soil is a healthy society. And that's what we need to get back to.
Yeah, that's just given me quite a few ideas, actually. And also just made me realise what, is happening to us at the moment. Again, they've turned these, pride rainbow flags, into grooming the young kids, over sexualizing them. But again, they've done that because they're nice to look at. They're using lots of different colors and that looks kind of friendly. They've started using it for a very sinister purpose. And again, trying to separate us, putting masks on our faces. And again, it's the monetary system we're currently using at the moment creates sort of centralization. It doesn't allow for small businesses to survive and thrive, because in order to survive, you need economies of scale, and you can only take advantage of those economies of scale if you're already a large business. And so large businesses will just simply engulf all the small ones. And again, this is why Bitcoin is just so important.
Well, I think that we know that the solution is to decentralize. And when you decentralize and you give people the creative freedom to come up with a solution that is right for their community, then they will have the creative imagination to do that. I think that what's been lost in the last, I'd say, 20 years is we've lost the ability for young people to creatively imagine and to critically analyze. When I was teaching undergraduates, I stopped teaching actually because they were part of a generation that had come through that just wanted me to teach them the right answer to pass the exam. And when I said that I was there to teach them to critically analyze and creatively imagine, they got very frustrated. So in my cohesive community, what I will be teaching is critical analysis skills and creative imagination, because without those, you cannot imagine an alternative to what gets presented to you, or to challenge information which gets presented to you. One of the reasons that I've been able to navigate these times is that I'm a good critical analyst and I can creatively imagine. And I want to be able to teach that to the next generation so that they have the skills to build strong, cohesive communities as a counter to what the alternative is. If the transhumanism agenda is the alternative, then we need to critically analyze and creatively imagine the alternative. And that's what I'm about. And that's what I'm about supporting other people to do, whether that's individually or in groups.
Brilliant. I love it. Just looking at the time, that's 14 minutes. This has been fantastic. I've actually really enjoyed this. So I'll wrap up the show here. So yeah, if you have enjoyed this show, listening to me and Julia just freestyling about life in general, please remember to tune in to the next one. See you later.